One of the hardest moments any family can face is the loss of someone they love. In that moment, people should be able to grieve, come together, and focus on honoring a life, not panic about how they're going to pay thousands of dollars in funeral and burial expenses. The truth is that most families are not financially prepared for the sudden cost of a funeral. Many people assume their savings will be enough, that a policy through work will cover everything, or that their family will simply figure it out when the time comes. But funeral costs often arrive fast, and the total expense can be far greater than most people expect. Between the funeral home, burial or cremation costs, transportation, flowers, obituary notices, clergy honorariums, death certificates, and other final expenses, the financial burden can quickly become overwhelming. When there is no plan in place, loved ones are often forced to make emotional decisions under pressure while also trying to come up with money they may not have. That can mean draining savings, putting expenses on credit cards, borrowing from family members, delaying services, or making painful compromises during an already heartbreaking time. What should be a moment of peace and remembrance can turn into confusion, stress, and financial hardship. That is why planning ahead matters so much. Protecting your family from funeral costs is not just about money, it's about love, responsibility, and giving the people you care about one less burden to carry when they need strength the most. A simple plan can help ensure that your wishes are honored, your family is protected, and the financial side of things is handled with dignity. This guide will walk you through the real costs families face, why so many people are caught off guard, and the most effective ways to prepare in advance. You will learn how to think through your options, avoid common mistakes, and put a plan in place that creates peace of mind for both you and the people you love. Because the best time to protect your family is before they ever need protection. Many families are shocked to discover just how expensive a funeral can be. What seems like a simple service can quickly turn into a major financial burden, especially when decisions must be made in a short amount of time and under emotional stress. In many cases, the average funeral can cost between $7,000 and $12,000, depending on the type of service, burial or cremation preferences, location, and the funeral home selected. For families who have not planned, that kind of sudden expense can be overwhelming. A traditional funeral with burial is often the most expensive option. Costs may include the funeral home's basic service fee, embalming and body preparation, viewing or visitation, use of facilities for the ceremony, a hearse, staff services, and a casket. On top of that, cemetery-related charges can add thousands more, including the burial plot, opening and closing of the grave, and a vault or grave liner. Even families who choose cremation can still face significant expenses depending on whether they include a memorial service, urn, transportation, and other arrangements. What many people do not realize is that the funeral itself is only part of the total cost. There are often many additional expenses that come afterward or alongside the service. Flowers, obituary notices, printed programs, clergy honorariums, musicians, transportation for family members, certified death certificates, and legal paperwork can all increase the total. In some situations, families may also need to cover unpaid medical bills, final utility payments, travel expenses for relatives, or time away from work. These extra costs can quietly push the total to be much higher than expected. Funeral costs are not just numbers on a page, they become very real when a loved one passes away. The emotional weight of loss is already heavy enough. Adding financial pressure on top of that can create tension, confusion, and lasting hardship for the people left behind. This is why understanding the true reality of funeral costs is so important. When you know what families may be facing, it becomes much easier to see why preparation matters. Planning ahead is not about expecting the worst. It's about making sure your family does not have to carry a financial burden during one of the hardest moments of their lives. A small amount of preparation today can spare your loved ones from a major financial struggle tomorrow. When a loved one passes away and there's no financial plan in place, families are often forced into making major decisions in the middle of grief, shock, and emotional exhaustion. This is one of the worst possible times to deal with urgent money problems, yet, this is exactly what happens every day. Instead of focusing fully on honoring their loved one, comforting one another, and beginning the healing process, families suddenly find themselves asking painful questions. How are we going to pay for this? Who is going to cover the cost? How fast do we need the money? Without a plan, funeral expenses do not disappear. They simply become someone else's burden. In many cases, surviving children, a spouse, siblings, or close relatives feel pressure to step in and figure it out. Often that means using credit cards, taking out personal loans, borrowing from friends or family, or asking the community for help through fundraisers or donation pages. While these options may provide temporary relief, they can also create long-term financial strain that lasts far beyond the funeral itself. Credit cards are one of the most common ways families cover sudden funeral costs, but this can quickly become a serious problem. A large funeral expense placed on a high-interest card might take months or even years to pay off, especially if the family is already dealing with everyday bills like rent, mortgage payments, groceries, car notes, and medical expenses. What started as a moment of emergency can turn into a lingering debt that continues to affect the household long after the service is over. Loans can create a similar burden. Even when families qualify for financing, the reality is that borrowed money still must be repaid. Monthly payments can add more stress to a family that may be already struggling emotionally and financially. In some cases, people end up sacrificing their own financial stability just to make sure their loved one receives a dignified service. They may postpone other important needs, fall behind on bills, or drain savings that were meant for emergencies, retirement, or their children's future. Fundraising is another route many families take when they have no other options. Online donation campaigns, church collections, and community support can be helpful, but they're also uncertain, and many families feel uncomfortable having to publicly ask for money during such a private and painful time. For some, it adds embarrassment, pressure, or a sense of helplessness to an already heartbreaking situation. This is why having a plan matters so much. A good plan does more than provide money. It provides clarity, direction, and peace. It protects your loved ones from having to scramble for answers and shields them from carrying a burden that was never meant to be theirs. The cost of not planning is often much greater than people realize. It is not just about dollars. It's about the pressure placed on the people you love the most at the exact moment when they're least equipped to carry it. One of the simplest and most effective ways to protect your family from funeral costs is through final expense insurance. This type of life insurance is designed specifically to help cover the expenses that often come at the end of life, giving your loved ones access to money when they need it most. Instead of leaving family members to scramble for funds, take on debt, or make painful financial compromises, Final expense insurance provides a cash payout that can ease the burden and create stability during a difficult time. When a final expense policy is in place, the beneficiary receives a tax-free cash benefit after the insured person passes away. That money can be used for funeral and burial costs, cremation expenses, memorial services, medical bills, legal paperwork, transportation, unpaid household bills, or any other immediate financial needs. In other words, it gives your family flexibility rather than being limited to one specific expense. The payout can go wherever it is needed most in that moment. Another reason final expense insurance is so valuable is that it's usually much easier to understand and access than many people think. These policies are often designed with smaller face amounts than large traditional life insurance plans because their purpose is to cover end-of-life costs rather than replace decades of income. That can make them more affordable for many individuals, especially seniors or those who simply want a practical way to make sure their family is protected from funeral expenses. In many cases, coverage can be straightforward, easy to apply for, and built around the real needs families face. For many people, final expense insurance is about more than money. It's about dignity. It's about making sure your family can focus on grieving, remembering, and coming together instead of worrying about whether they can afford to bury or cremate you properly. It is about protecting your spouse from having to empty a savings account, protecting your children from using credit cards, and protecting your loved ones from the stress of trying to solve a financial emergency while in pain. The truth is that most people don't buy final expense insurance for themselves alone. They buy it for the people they love. They buy it because they want to leave behind care instead of chaos, preparation instead of pressure, and peace instead of panic. It is one of the clearest ways to say, I've thought ahead and I don't want this burden to fall on you. In the end, final expense insurance helps by turning a future problem into a present solution. It gives families money, options, and breathing room when they need it most, and that can make all the difference. Final expense coverage is designed for people who want to make sure their loved ones are protected from the financial burden that can come after a death. While many people assume this type of insurance is only for the elderly, the truth is that it could be a smart solution for a wide range of individuals who want to plan ahead responsibly and give their family greater peace of mind. This type of coverage is especially ideal for seniors and retirees who may no longer have life insurance through an employer or who want a simple policy specifically meant to help with funeral costs and other final expenses. Many retirees live on a fixed income, which means a large unexpected cost could be especially hard for surviving family members to manage. Final expense insurance can help make sure those costs are handled without forcing loved ones to dip into savings or take on debt. It's also a strong fit for parents, grandparents, and caregivers who do not want their children or relatives left scrambling to cover costs during an emotional time. For many people, this kind of planning is an act of love. It says, I want to take responsibility now so my family doesn't have to struggle later. Final expense coverage may also be right for anyone who does not have a large savings cushion, does not want to leave unpaid bills behind, or simply wants a straightforward way to prepare. Even families that are doing reasonably well financially can feel the stress of a sudden funeral and end-of-life expenses. Having a policy in place can provide immediate relief and prevent added pressure at the worst possible moment. In short, this is for people who care deeply about what happens to their family after they're gone and who want to leave behind peace, not problems. Choosing the right final expense coverage is not about buying the biggest policy possible. It's about selecting an amount and a plan that realistically matches your family's needs, your budget, and the real cost that they may face when your time comes. The goal is simple: Make sure your loved ones have enough financial support to handle funeral expenses and immediate bills without being left stressed, rushed, and overwhelmed. One of the first things to consider is the coverage amount. A good policy should reflect the current cost of funeral services in your area, not just a rough national average. Funeral prices can vary depending on where you live, whether you prefer burial or cremation, and the type of services you want. A traditional burial with a viewing, casket, cemetery plot, and graveside service often costs more than a simple cremation, but either option can still become expensive when all the details are added together. That is why it's important to think beyond a single number and consider the full picture of what your family might need to pay. In many cases, people focus only on the funeral home bill and forget about the other costs that can appear at the same time: transportation, flowers, obituary notices, death certificates, clergy honorariums, legal paperwork, unpaid medical bills, and even temporary household expenses can all add pressure. Choosing the right coverage means building in enough protection so your family is not left short when those extra costs start appearing. A policy that seems large enough on paper may still fall short if it only covers the most obvious expenses and leaves everything else out. Another important factor is affordability. The right policy is one you can comfortably keep in force over time. A plan is only helpful if it stays active when your family eventually needs it. That's why it's smart to choose a premium that fits your monthly budget without causing strain. Some people make the mistake of selecting more coverage than they can comfortably afford, which can create problems later. It's usually better to choose a stable, manageable plan that you can keep consistently than to stretch too far and risk losing the coverage altogether. You will also want to look for policies with a simple approval process. For many people, one of the biggest advantages of final expense insurance is that it's often easier to qualify for than traditional life insurance policies. Some plans ask only a handful of health questions and may not require a medical exam at all. This can be especially helpful for seniors or individuals with certain health concerns who still want to put protection in place. The simpler the process, the easier it is to move from intention to actual coverage. It's also wise to look for fixed premiums. A fixed premium means the amount you pay does not increase as you get older. That kind of stability matters, especially for people on a fixed income or anyone who wants predictable monthly expenses. The last thing most people want is a policy that becomes more expensive later in life when finances may already be tighter. Knowing your premium stays level can provide confidence and make long-term planning much easier. In addition to premium stability, pay attention to the overall simplicity of the policy itself. The best coverage is often easy to understand. You should know how much protection you have, who the beneficiary is, how the payout works, and whether there are any waiting periods or conditions attached to the policy. Clear, straightforward coverage is usually better than something complicated that creates confusion later. When the time comes, your family should not have to struggle to understand what's available or how to access it. At the end of the day, the right policy is the one that gives you confidence. It should reflect real funeral costs, leave room for additional end-of-life expenses, fit comfortably within your budget, and offer a simple path to approval and a dependable payout. You're not just choosing insurance, you're choosing peace of mind, preparation, and a way to protect the people you love from unnecessary hardship. A thoughtful decision now can spare your family from financial pressure later. That is what choosing the right coverage is really about. When it comes to protecting your family from funeral costs, good intentions are not always enough. Many people assume they will deal with it later, believe the cost will not be that high, or trust that their family will somehow figure it out when the time comes. Sadly, those assumptions are exactly what leaves so many families financially strained after a loss. A thoughtful plan can spare your loved ones from a great deal of stress, but only if it is built on realistic expectations and put in place before it is needed. One of the most common mistakes is waiting too long. It's easy to delay planning because thinking about funeral expenses or end of life preparation is uncomfortable. People often tell themselves they'll handle it after retirement when life slows down or other finances feel better. But waiting can make coverage harder to get and more expensive. Health changes over time, monthly premiums can rise with age, and some options may no longer be available later. The sooner a person plans, the more control they usually have over cost, coverage, and peace of mind. Another major mistake is underestimating how expensive funerals really are. Many people think about the basic service and do not realize how many separate charges can be involved. Funeral home fees, burial or cremation costs, casket or urn, transportation, flowers, printed programs, obituary notices, death certificates, clergy honorariums, cemetery charges, and legal paperwork can all add up very fast. What seems like a manageable expense at first can quickly become several $1,000s more than expected. When families underestimate the total, they often discover too late that there's not enough money set aside to cover everything. A third mistake is assuming Social Security will take care of funeral costs. Many people are surprised to learn that Social Security's one-time lump sum death payment is only $255 for a qualifying spouse or, in some cases, a qualifying child. That amount has remained tiny compared with modern funeral expenses and does very little when total costs can reach several $1,000s. Relying on that benefit as a funeral plan is one of the most dangerous misunderstandings families make. It may help in a very small way, but it is nowhere close to enough to cover the real costs of a funeral today. Another very common mistake is assuming family will simply be able to cover the rest. People often say, "My children will handle it," or "My family will come together." While this may sound comforting, it can place a heavy burden on the very people you want to protect. Your spouse, children, or relatives may already be dealing with mortgage payments, rent, groceries, medical bills, debt, and their own financial pressures. Coming up with thousands of dollars on short notice can be extremely difficult, even for loving families who want to help. Love does not automatically mean financial readiness. Another issue is assuming workplace life insurance is enough. Coverage through an employer can be helpful, but it often disappears when a person changes jobs or retires. Even when it remains in place, it may not be designed specifically to cover funeral costs and final expenses. Depending on employer coverage alone can leave a major gap later in life, exactly when protection matters the most. Finally, many people make the mistake of choosing coverage without fully understanding it. A low premium may look attractive, but what matters is whether the policy truly fits your needs. Does the premium stay fixed? Is there a waiting period? Is the benefit amount enough for current costs in your area? Is the application process simple? These are important questions because a policy should not just exist on paper. It should be strong enough and clear enough to do the job your family will need it to do. The good news is that these mistakes are common, but they're also avoidable. When you plan early, look honestly at the real cost of a funeral, understand how little Social Security actually provides, and put proper coverage in place, you give your family something incredibly valuable: protection from financial hardship during one of the hardest moments of their lives. That is what preparation really does. It replaces assumptions with answers, confusion with clarity, and panic with peace. Now that you have a clearer picture of what funeral costs can look like and how easily those expenses can become a burden for loved ones, the next step is simple. Take time to review your options and decide what level of protection makes the most sense for your situation. The most important thing is not finding a perfect plan on paper. It's making sure your family is not left unprepared when they need the support the most. Every family is different. Some people may only want enough coverage to handle basic funeral and burial or cremation expenses. Others may want additional protection to help with medical bills, household expenses, or other immediate costs that can arise after a loss. The right amount depends on your goals, your budget, and the kind of burden you want to remove from the people you love. Even a modest plan can be a meaningful difference when the time comes. Taking action now can provide something priceless: peace of mind. It allows you to move forward knowing you have made a responsible decision, and it gives your family the comfort of knowing there's a plan in place. Instead of leaving them with uncertainty, you leave them with clarity. Instead of leaving them with financial pressure, you leave them with protection. The key is not to wait. The earlier you review your options, the more opportunity you usually have to find coverage that fits your needs and budget. Putting a plan in place today can help spare your loved ones from stress, debt, and difficult financial decisions later. If you would like help reviewing your options and finding the right level of protection for your family, reach out to Lionheart Legacy. We can help you look at affordable final expense solutions, answer your questions clearly, and guide you towards a plan that gives you confidence and peace of mind. Contact Lionheart Legacy today to explore your coverage options and take the next step towards protecting your family from funeral costs.